Hey everybody,
What's up, guys?
welcome to IronTrap podcast. If I don't look excited, that's because this is our second podcast in 2 hours.
We're tired of talking, and we got to film a video in a little bit for tomorrow.
Yeah, this is the not fun part of what we do. So
Yeah, Carlisle and Hershey, we have to film a lot of extra stuff.
extra stuff, and it's this we've talked about it a bunch with the mill and everything going on. Like I haven't been able to really do much in the garage because I've been trying to play project coordinator, and I literally go from like fixing a hydraulic hose on something that's broken to ripping down boards for the
Doing shingles on Monday. Was that Monday?
Yeah, Monday I scraped shingles with the Swede, and then I that same day we cut a feed bin down, and then
The next day, you ran to Pottstown to get a new hydraulic hose for the lift.
trying to fix the lift, and helping Steve do
Speaking
this.
of that, I got to text him, make sure he's good for tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be nice to get that fixed. So like, because of all of that, like it's hard. We don't have a video guy that just follows us around. Our videos would be super interesting if they actually had someone just following me around, because there's all kinds of nonsense that's going on throughout the day.
Always.
Still gets missed, even though we do the week in the life of. So, yeah, so it's been a little crazy, but I don't know when this podcast comes out, but
Sunday.
Sunday.
This Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday. We're about to go to Carlisle and Hershey.
Yes.
We're excited.
Yes, so excited.
We're excited.
Spaces N3 to N6 for Carlisle, C4T 25 to 27 for Hershey.
Yep.
Come say hi, buy a t-shirt, buy some parts.
Oh yeah, we're restocked on a ton of merch. We've been like kind of low. We were
My fault.
a little lazy this summer with reordering, so we've had a little bit going on. But we have a big restock. We've had a bunch of people have been, hey, when are you gonna get large hoodies back in? Yeah. So a lot of that stuff is in stock. As always, Carlisle and Hershey is busy. So with sales of merch. So if you really have been waiting for a shirt or you want one, and you are a common size folk.
Yes.
If you're 5X, probably will be shirts there for you. But if you're extra small,
there'll be some smalls, but large, extra large 2X, it's hard to keep in stock. So.
Yeah, so there's stuff. We've had people that waited until the last day of Hershey to come grab a shirt from us, which I understand you get busy, but don't be mad if we're out, because we do not print 10,000 shirts. We're not a merch company. We just offer merch as a kind of, we don't really make much money on merch. So we just kind of do it because it's a marketing thing for us. That's the reason we do it, for us, but also people, we're thankful that people like it, but we can't order 10,000 t-shirts.
No.
We're not
monetarily, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is
but if we are out of stock directly after Hershey, we'll be placing another order in preparation for Black Friday.
Yes.
So after Hershey, I will place another order. End of October, we'll have a full restock back up on the website.
And we're gonna probably be working on a new shirt design. Mike doesn't know this, but it's been in my head.
Well, it's not going to get done for Black Friday, I'll tell you that.
Why not?
By the time we design it and print it, do you think so? I still got to do calendars yet, too.
Yeah, so we're going to be working on all of that now.
Got it.
Hopefully, so that we can get that done. So, but yeah, no, whether it makes Black Friday or not, we might even wait till the spring. I don't know. But,
yeah.
We've been trying to do like some of these limited run shirts have been pretty cool. So it made me think of it because I'm wearing the pocket tee today. Like that one went over pretty well,
yeah,
and it's really cool to see people, customers and viewers and different people will message us and be like, I'm at a show in, Texas, and I saw 3 of your shirts at the show, or Australia or wherever. So it's like, it's cool that people buy our stuff to support us, but also they actually think it's cool enough to wear it to car events.
Yeah.
So that's
we could do we did it last year for Black Friday. We could do a reprint run. And then in the spring, do a design like the parts shirt again.
Yeah.
Do a reprint of the Arden shirt.
Maybe. Yeah, that's kind of cool. We kind of do that selfishly because we want them for ourselves. So
yes.
Like the Arden shirt, I would just like some extras because I wear them out. We wear them in the shop.
Yeah. So if there's an old design that we don't carry anymore that you would like, or the sign shirt even.
Yeah.
Comment down below and let us know, because we can make a decision based off of feedback, or let us know at Hershey and Carlisle.
Yeah. So we'll probably be coming up with a new design for shirts and stuff like that. It's just a fun thing we do, and we also like doing it because for us, we wear this stuff, so it's
Mm-hmm.
cool to come up with a new design and kind of a neat little thing. So maybe we'll do one that's Merc based. Maybe with the Merc being chopped, maybe we'll do a.
That's not a bad idea.
We could do something that's. We should do. Maybe we should do a shirt that's somehow tongue in cheek around, like ruined roadster or correcting what the factory did wrong or
That's
something.
true.
We could
Factory correction.
yeah, factory correction. So
That's
this
not a bad idea.
brainstorming,
Yes.
but we may do something like that. But if you have a cool idea, let us know. Maybe we'll.
And also, come to Carlisle. We have a ton, Carlisle and Hershey. We have a ton of parts for both. This whole week, I've been digging through inventory that hasn't been for sale in the past. So come out to the show. There's a lot packed. I have 20 some bins of parts and big parts. And if you're looking for any fenders,
Seinfeld the dog.
yes,
Hey, everybody.
it wasn't Seinfeld. It was Kramer.
Oh, Jesus. Kramer the dog. Terrible.
It's okay.
That joke sucks. Edit that out.
I saved
What's
it.
up,
I
buddy?
saved it.
What's up, buddy?
Body panel stuff. If you haven't, let us know if you need something. We probably can't accommodate at this point. It might be a little too crazy. But send us an email. We might be able to stuff it in the trailer ahead of time. But yeah, we're basically tomorrow's the last day to prepare. So we're going to be stuffing the trailer as full as possible tomorrow.
Yeah, well, like Mike said, the big thing is that we every year bring a bunch of fresh to market stuff. We hold stuff back that we've bought, and don't put it online because I think that's one of the things that I've been preaching about Carlisle and Hershey and swap meets. That I think it's getting better again is the excitement of going to a swap meet and finding cool stuff that there's nothing worse than when you go to a booth and you see the guy that had all that stuff for sale the last 10 years at Carlisle because it's priced expensive. So we try and hold some stuff back so that Carlisle and Hershey, it's literally you're getting the first chance. So if you don't do the internet or you maybe miss out when we do the Instagram posts each night, you can get really good stuff. So there's good
This year
stuff.
we weren't even intentionally trying to hold stuff back. We
still
bought so many big
yeah.
estates. We hadn't even had the chance to
But we made
go through them.
But we kind of made a conscious effort to pull out some
Oh,
fresh to market
definitely,
stuff.
yeah.
So that's like the big thing because we have enough items for sale on our website. You could just went on the shelf and filled the
exactly.
booth. But it's like we're
That's basically what we did in the spring. Was I just walked around the building and just pulled. We're still bringing stuff that's on the website as well. This year, Luke is going to be staying back 2 to 3 days a week to ship. So everything will be getting shipped in a timely manner for the next 2 weeks, which is huge. We ran the numbers and we were losing a large amount of money every year with putting the web store on. Because some of the big trips, it was like 5 to 6 weeks a year. We'd shut everything, not shut it down, but our sales would tank pretty hard. So
yeah, when somebody sees an item on eBay or on our website and it's like it says allow an extra week and a half of handling time, people are like, no thanks, I'll buy it somewhere else. So
yeah, there's been a bunch of times people have bought stuff and the order gets canceled because they're in a rush for it, which is understandable.
yeah, so that's trying to evolve, but definitely Carlisle and Hershey should be fun. We'll have a bunch of friends from out of town in, and it'll just be a good time.
Steve might come out for a day for each show. He was talking about wanting to come wander around, so Steve will be there a little bit.
Maybe we'll
Yes.
see how he does. Gonna crack the whip.
He's got chained to the bench.
If he gets enough things.
Although this week he did half the work we set aside for next week.
Yeah, he did kick ass this week, so it's been good. But so today's topic,
it's storytelling. We're gonna relive one of our fun adventures, and this one's actually kind of interesting because people always think
Moondog.
people always think all these trips go flawlessly, and this one was probably one of the first ones where we had the start of the trip was really not great. Yes. We had a big box truck and things didn't work out the way that we had planned. So this was the end of the trip was much more fun. I'll say that.
Yes, this was, I don't even remember how we got in touch with this guy.
I don't remember either. If he called us or sent us an email.
I don't remember, but there was a gentleman we were dealing with that was in
Wisconsin, Illinois, somewhere between there. I don't remember exactly where. He was just it was west of Chicago.
But I talked to him on the phone a bunch and emailed and whatever. But like, I don't think sometimes I kind of do stuff still old school. Or I understand that a lot of our people that we talk to, there's sometimes we're buying stuff from. They're older, they're not internet savvy, so they can't take photos, they can't whatever. I'm actually fairly patient about that. A lot of other people are like they need to see photos, since occasionally it has bit us in the ass. But like this guy was kind of like over. What ended up happening? He was overselling what he had, and he didn't really send me photos. But then he was listing all this good stuff, and I'm like, well, there's enough quantity. I don't really need photos because he's telling us there's like a 36 Roadster or something, or Phaeton, and all this 35.6 stuff he's telling us about, and parts, and at this farm, and this big farm that him and his brother has, and
Yeah.
ba 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 ba, and there's tons of stuff, and then he's got stuff at his house, and just on and on and on again. And it's like, okay, well, that sounds really good. And then we were trying to coordinate a trip, so we were like, most all these trips, if we get a lead like this where it's not sure enough or not enough to buy and make a trip just for it, we'll try and string along enough stuff so that we do that. And I've been doing that for most of my life with doing these adventures. Even when I was doing it in Europe, it was like you try to string enough stuff along, so if one or two of the things aren't as good as planned, you still make out okay.
Yeah.
So this guy, I kind of was just like, we were trying to time it. So we had found there was a big auction in Ohio going on, and we're like, well, we'll fly out to this guy. We had some other smaller stuff maybe that was like, maybe we can call while we're on the road or whatever. Flew out to this guy. I think we flew into Milwaukee.
Somewhere over there, yeah. I don't exactly remember where, yeah.
We might have flew into. And he wasn't super close to where we flew into.
Yeah, we had to drive a little bit.
2 hours or something like that. So we flew in.
And also, we didn't get a huge saving grace for this trip is with an auction, you don't know what you're going to get. So we rented a mid-size U-Haul truck. If we would have rented a large one, it would have been
quite disappointing.
Yeah, so we got like
the cost of rent and everything else.
Pretty sure it was a 16-foot box truck. So we had space to put a pretty decent amount of stuff in, but we didn't get one of the big 26-footers that we normally do when we do these really, really large estates.
Right. Yeah, so we flew in, and like a lot of these deals, I just to kind of queue up all this stuff. Like for us to do, a lot of people ask about the process. So it's like, you either negotiate a price or we call and we talk to the people and feel them out. So in this instance, it wasn't like you could buy everything or you could buy some stuff, but he couldn't give me he wasn't really pricing stuff out. And sometimes that's how it is. You just got to go, bring money, and try and haggle when you're there and see what you can buy. So it seemed like he was reasonable on the phone, and I was like, okay, well, we'll bring some money and see what happens. And we knew this auction there was like 232 Roadsters, a Model A pickup, and a bunch of cars and stuff. I'm like, well, there's enough stuff there at that sale that, depending how it goes, we can buy a lot, we could spend a lot. So it was like, all right, well, let's figure it out. So we plan to fly out. So we book a box truck. That costs anywhere from halfway across the country or more. You're looking at thousands of dollars, whether it's
$1,500 to $3,500 is what we've paid roughly.
Yeah, so you're looking at, for a U-Haul truck, depending on size, that kind of money. So right away you got, let's say, $1,200 or $1,500 in a box truck. We bought flights. For Mike and I, it might be
$500 to $1,000 depending on where we fly to and from.
Now we're doing one way, which is nice. So it might have said, let's say, $600 for the two of us to fly in. We usually, because of how everything works out, fly in the night before. So we fly in the night before. I don't remember on that one if we did or not.
I think we did, because we flew into Milwaukee and it was the same weekend as Harley was having some big event, remember? Yeah. It was tough for us to find a hotel.
That's right. So we fly in the night before, get our box truck.
Oh, that was that hotel that we stayed at where we went into the room. The AC was broken.
Oh, was that hotel?
And then we went to the other room and it had an even older AC, but it surprisingly worked.
Yeah, so already you got to think about, we're $1,500 into the box truck, $1,200, $1,500, $600 into a flight. Then, we have to get a hotel the night before so that because sometimes when you're flying into these places like Milwaukee, Philly to Milwaukee, there might not be as many. There's like maybe no direct flights, or the way the transfers are, we can't do it in a time period we'd like. So maybe you get in at a weird time, so it doesn't work for us. We need a full day to do what we need. So fly in the night before, we get a hotel. You got your $150 for a hotel or $120, whatever. Hard to get a hotel for under $100 these days. So you got all of that. So right there, we're $2,000 into
a hunch, basically.
Yeah, a hunch. We didn't buy anything. Just Mike and I are going on a vacation together to beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we got our box truck. We drive to the guy's place. Gives us the address.
We went to his house first.
Yeah, and it was like pretty rundown place.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of I don't want to say a hoarder situation. It was a hoarder situation. Actually,
he was sleeping in the living room.
Sleeping in the living room. Place was rough. I mean, really rough. Car parts in the living room. The living situation was pretty rough.
Yeah.
And he like took us into like a. So he was telling us about all this great stuff when we get to his house, and he's like hard selling the stuff in like this little side bedroom.
It used to be one of the kids' rooms because it had like kids' wallpaper on the walls.
Yeah, and like a shed in the back, and we're digging through the stuff in his like this bedroom, and it's like not that great. I mean, we had to dig really hard. We did find some neat stuff.
Yes.
But it was obvious that he had been selling at flea markets and stuff because it was like pricing on some of the stuff. So this was like years of selling, and he was kind of making it seem like it wasn't that way. So we're like, luckily we dug hard enough and we're smart enough that we were able to find some neat stuff. I remember I found one of the neatest things I found. It was actually one of the most rare parts we've ever found. Was there was a 39 Mercury only accessory wide 5 trim rings.
Yes.
I never knew they existed. Didn't know it was a thing. This dude told us that they were 36 accessory, and I'm like, I've never seen those. I don't know. And they were like these like ribbed trim rings, but they were way wider where they went in further to the wheel. And I was like, I don't know. And he, I think I paid
$100.
$100, and I was like, I don't know. These might be aftermarket. They were kind of rough, not rough, but like the chrome was mostly all gone on them. And I was like, I don't know. But it was a hunch. He was very, very sure that they were Ford accessory, and I was like, I don't know. But we bought them. $100. I figured, even like common trim rings, we get $50 for a set. So I'm like, it's worth it. Hunch. We got something else, accessory or something that was kind of cool in there.
Trying to remember.
Was it like a 36 hood ornament accessory or something like that?
Shit, I don't remember now. There was something I know we found, this is one of the first estates I was picking in a kitchen. Remember he had car parts in his kitchen? Every room, so he was basically just living in the front living room, and then everything else had car parts in it. The bedrooms upstairs all had car parts. We were going through the dressers, and there was like clothes and then car parts wrapped up in them because we found club plaques.
Oh, that was the place where we found the club plaques.
Yeah. In the dresser upstairs.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Or no, was it upstairs? No, it wasn't upstairs. It was off the kitchen. There was a bedroom. Upstairs, there wasn't a lot. There was some like magazines and stuff.
I don't remember going upstairs.
It was like a Cape Cod. It wasn't a whole lot. There was just 2 small rooms upstairs. But that was one. It was like the kitchen cabinets had like shit in them.
There was like good stuff in the kitchen cabinets. You open them up and it was like up at the top, and there was like accessory clocks and random
all kinds
stuff
of weird
we're like
stuff.
pulling out. We're just like,
so we did find some good stuff, but it was very small amount.
We had to really. It was hard. Like we had to really kind of like keep asking him about stuff and like trying to get him to some of these estates we go to, especially when it's like a hoarder type situation. Like they don't even remember what they have, so we're kind of like, well, have anything else, whatever. And then like sometimes they hyper focus on an item that we don't even have interest in. So I think that guy was trying to sell us like toy cars or something. Yeah. We're like, I don't know. And like, we'll come here and see them, and start showing me. And I'm like, you could see there was car parts like in the open part of the cabin. I'm like, oh, do you got some stuff like up in here? He's like, oh yeah, there is some parts up in there. And next thing you know, we're pulling interesting stuff out of the kitchen
like he
cabinet.
forgot he had the club plaques. Yeah. And then didn't want to sell them for he's like, I kind of want to keep them. And it was like back and forth of like, well, I'd like to buy them, but I don't know if I want to sell them. And it was just back and forth. Like,
and then he was like,
90% of the stuff.
and then it's one of those deals where the guy was obviously a good way into it. We realized that the guy was very money driven. You look at the situation he's living in, and you could tell that this guy he needed us to buy stuff because he needed the money. And it's not that we're taking advantage of him. It was just when we're in these situations, I could tell that dollars will motivate him to sell. He was not that attached to anything because he needed the money. So it was like, I forget what it was, but I was like, well, what do you know, like, I understand that you want like money for these, what do you think whatever. And not doing not being lame and doing like the American Pickers thing. Like, we guys do it to us all the time. They watch too much TV. They're like, what's your, I don't want to sell it price. It wasn't like, I didn't do that lame bullshit. It was just like, I understand that I try and reason with the people. I'm like, I understand that you're not going to give them away. Club plaques are hard to find. I collect them, certain ones that are unusual. Like, just kind of have that conversation. I'm willing to pay, like, if you're not crazy, I'll pay a decent amount for it. So I think the guy was like, I got to get $100. And it's like his, like, crazy price or whatever that he said. He's like, I got to get $100 so I wouldn't let these things go. I'm like, all right.
Sold.
I'll take them. And it might have even been 100 a piece.
I don't remember.
I remember it being like, that's kind of high. But the one I really wanted because it was unusual. And, but the way we figured is there was other stuff that we bought that day that he gave us prices and it was like really good and we're going to make money. So the way I think about it in my head, just pay his price. Because if I start haggling, he's going to say, nah, never mind, put it back. So I said, okay, fine. And I think it might have been 100 a plaque, which is a little on the high side. But I was like, you know what? I want to get these. So I don't remember which plaques they are.
Insert photo here.
I think I might be looking at a Pharaoh's plaque. They were like Wisconsin.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 of them. Yeah.
And
there was a Merc plaque too.
Yeah, there was like some Mercury Club plaque that was kind of cool. So, and who knows? He might have been feeding us some, because we kind of figured out this guy was a bullshit scam, not scam artist, bullshit artist. After a little while, so we made a decent pile. Then we went out in the shed, and this is when we could tell Moon's growling in his sleep already. We could tell there was some weird stuff going on with him and his brother. So he was like, yeah, my brother had to get, I don't remember what it was. His brother had another property or had a shed that was falling down and had to get the stuff out. So he moved it all to my property, and it's most of the stuff in here is his stuff, but like some of it's mine. But I could sell the stuff because he has too much stuff. He doesn't need it. And it's been sitting here for XYZ.
And then that's when he also told us that the stuff in the house that we were digging through in the first bedroom, right when we came in, was also some of that stuff. That's
so
weird.
We could quickly tell that there was stuff that was the better stuff and the stuff that he was showing us that was his. Because we bought some stuff out of his bedroom, which was also the living room.
Yes.
It was like laying on different areas. And like there was like really low quality stuff that we were kind of like buying. And he was like, oh, that's mine. And then you could start to tell that some of the stuff was like better wasn't his. Because it didn't match with what he was telling us was his. So the shed, there was actually decent stuff in the shed. I don't remember what all there was. There was like some flipper hubcaps that were pretty good.
2 or 3 pairs of sets of flipper hubcaps. Found 35/6 pickup windshield frame, which is pretty good. There was 2 or 3 car windshield frames. I'm trying to remember.
And the
what
stuff
else
was like in decent quality.
There's some Strombergs in there too. I remember.
Yeah. So that kind of turned it around a little bit. We had a decent sized pile, and
for reference though, it was like you could put it in the back seat of a car. Like we didn't need a gigantic box truck. The amount of stuff that we bought, we put it all in the truck. We're like, welp, I'm glad we got a giant box truck.
Well, before that, we didn't even say that right away. We made a deal on the stuff, and we put it in the box truck, and it's like he's telling us how there's this farm, and it's his brother's farm, his brother will sell, and blah, blah, blah. So we're like, okay. I was like, well, why don't you call your brother, and we'll go over to the farm. I want to, see this 36 Phaeton or Roadster or whatever he wants to sell, and all this better stuff. He's talking up all the stuff at the farm.
There's a coupe in pieces. There's a 2-door sedan in pieces, and
so we're like, he's like, okay, let me call him. Sometimes he's a little moody or something like that. So he calls him, typical old guy, on his flip phone, and he has him on speakerphone.
Yeah.
And he calls his brother, and his brother's like, you could straight away hear he's like, kind of, he's like, yeah, I got these guys here from PA. They want to like come look around and buy some stuff. And he's like, I don't want those fucking guys, or whatever he said. Like, I don't want anybody at the farm.
And it was a problem because he took him off his speakerphone. He was like, the conversation started to not go in a way he wanted. Took it off his speakerphone and like walked away and was trying to talk to him.
And he's like, we're like, oh, Mike and I look at each other like, are you kidding me? Like, what's going on? And he's trying to make it sound like he's like, oh, my brother's kind of, he's moody and he's, his health is whatever and he has bad days. So like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so can we go or can we not? Like, what's the deal? And I'm like, started to get quite annoyed because this guy made it sound like on the phone. I had multiple conversations and I'm always like, I always have that conversation. I'm like, you're allowed to sell this stuff. Your brother's cool with selling. I don't want to come halfway across the country. And he's like, yeah, no, he's fine. He's, whatever.
It's all available.
So he goes, then he comes back and he's like, well, he said I can come over there, but he's got a friend that's there that also rents there. So like we can go over and I think the friend's there or something, whatever. He's like, but he'll probably sell some stuff. Okay. But he's like, I don't think my brother's going to be there. He's not feeling well today. Yeah. But his friend, his buddy that he rents some space there will be there or whatever, and we can go. So we go there, and there's some kind of rough around the edges biker kind of dude that's there, and I guess he stores some stuff there. And
into birds. Remember? There was like parrots and shit in the one building.
He was like, I think, living in the barns. It was kind of a weird, again, also weird situation.
Yes.
This dude, very standoffish. We get there and he's very like,
what the fuck are you doing here? to the guy we were there with.
Kind of like that, and maybe not that aggressive, but it was kind of like whatever. So he's like, yeah, these are the guys from PA, and I took my brother, blah blah blah. Can you just show them around a little bit? Like they're interested in buying some stuff. And it's like, okay, and I'm like kind of again trying to cut to the chase. I'm like, so do we deal with him to try and ask prices, or what's the situation? Well, he's going to call my brother, and then you guys can whatever. Like, okay, this is a process.
A major process.
So he shows us around, and it's like, well, what's up with there's tons of stuff. But it's like, now it's such a process. It's like, well, you don't want to just ask about every nut and bolt, and he calls him every time. So we look around, and I think we asked about the Roadster Phaeton, and the price was kind of crazy.
He was cobbling bodies together to try and sell.
It was like obviously a bunch of different pieces kind of half screwed or tack welded together, and the price was kind of high. It was like some cobbled together mess, and it was $12,000. And I'm like, and he might have told me the prices for that stuff on the phone, and I'm like, well, this isn't what you described. This is like a rusty cowl screwed together to a back half. This isn't like a complete Roadster. This is a whatever. So we were looking around, and it was like very quickly evident that we weren't going to be able to buy a lot.
Yeah, or anything.
Anything. So I'm trying to like salvage it. It's like, oh my God, let's try and buy something. So we went in the back. There was like a back room in one of the buildings, like a milk room or something. And there was a 33 Ford grill back there.
Did we buy a grill there?
We didn't buy anything. But there was a 33 Ford grill back there. And I was like, well, let me try and like, I'll step up and buy this grill. Maybe it'll get the ball rolling, even if I got to pay like almost retail for it. So he gets his brother on the phone. I forget what happened, but he basically got his brother on the guy called, and they gave me a price. No, the brother.
I don't remember. I was not involved. I was like standing off to the side because
you were getting annoyed because I was trying to like salvage something. And I can't remember how it happened, but they gave me a price, $1,200, $1,400, whatever it was for the grill. And it was basically, if it was $1,400, it was a $1,450 grill retail at Hershey. Like it wasn't good, or $1,250 or whatever it was. So he was like $1,200, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. And then all of a sudden it was like, the brother, who's the Sheedy brother's like, go ahead, just put in the truck, you can pay me. I'm like, I don't know. And then because the dude was like, let me go back and call him right now. and he walks away.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the brother's like, just give me the money, you can take it. It's all good. He needs to sell this shit anyways. And I'm like,
That's kind of weird.
kind of weird. Dude walks back, biker dude, and he's like, nope. He actually has the dude on the speakerphone, and now I'm talking. The guy's like, that's not absolutely, that's not for sale. I'm like, well, he just told me I agreed to your price. And he's like, nope, I'm not selling that. And it's like, well, we're here looking around. And the dude was like real aggressive, like not friendly at all. And then finally the guy's like, he on the phone, he's like, well, give me your number. And when I'm feeling better, you could come back and we can make a deal. I'm like, dude, I'm from PA. Like, I'm here today and I'm not coming back on just the stuff you have here. So like, is the grill, he's like, I'm not selling anything unless I'm like there or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's not what your brother told me. And it's like, well, my brother's fucking lying to you then. I told him nothing's for sale unless I'm there. Give me your number and your whatever. So I gave my phone number to the friend who had parrots there and was, I think, living there.
Yeah, it was weird.
The weird, super weird thing. So I gave the number, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then the dude is trying to like, that's kind of, scam artist brother is just kind of like still trying to like sell us stuff. Or you want to come back to my place and check out some more stuff, whatever. I'm sorry, he's a little crazy, but like maybe if you want to stay and tomorrow you can, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
we did buy wheels there. Remember down in the one part of the barn, we bought a bunch of wheels with tires. He did let us buy.
I think they were his though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I think they were
And I
his.
will say in the one bay, there was a room that was locked.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, why did you lock that room up? And the brother, it was when you were on the phone with the grill. And he's like, that's because you keep selling my shit.
Yeah. So basically what we through our fucking detective skills here, not very hard.
Yeah.
We realized that the fucking brother that didn't have a pot to piss in has been selling all the other brothers' fucking early Ford shit behind his back. So he had keys to the farm and was like coming and going into the buildings, but the brother must have realized that he was selling shit and stealing shit. Shit was going missing, so he locked up this one room, and that must have been where there was like
the good stuff,
really good stuff. And he had this dude there because that dude was like kind of the barrier. And it seemed like the scam artist brother was a little surprised that this dude was there. I don't think he thought he was going to be there, because I think when he talked to his brother and was off walking away, it might have been like, well, I'm not there, you can't come. And I think he took us there thinking that no one was going to be there. Other sick brother called his friend who was maybe part-time living there or whatever
to come over.
Get your ass over there. My brother's fucking bringing some guy to steal my shit. So that's why he was aggressive to us, because we were looped in with the fucking scam artist and we didn't know any better.
Guilty by association.
Yeah. So the dude at the end is trying to like, still, I'm like, man, you wasted so much of our fucking time. We came all the way out here. You lied to us, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm out of here, man. I don't got any more time for your bullshit. I was just so pissed. I'm usually very professional and easygoing with these people, and I'm just like, I'm done. Like, we're out of here. So we got we left, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was either later that night or the next day, he called, the sick brother called me and left a voicemail. Was like, if you want to come back when my brother's not there, I will sell some stuff. But I was so pissed off because he was a major asshole on the phone to me. I was like, basically like, dude, I don't want to deal with this. Nothing you have is worth the hassle that we just went through.
Definitely.
Like, I was just so disgusted. I was like, we're not, sorry, we're
and then after we did a video of this, obviously, after that video came out, one of our fans emailed us and said that dude is a giant fucking pain in the ass.
He's a scam artist. He's done that to me. He's done that to multiple people.
Yeah. The bait and switch, get people to come to his place, buy stuff, and then his brother's stuff isn't for sale, or they sold them stuff that his brother wanted bad. It's a bad, not a great situation.
So I'm sure there's stuff that we bought that we didn't know, and probably was shit that he had stolen out of his brother's place.
Oh, 100%.
Was selling out the fucking back door, and we didn't know any better.
Like I said, this is one of the first ones that was like not a great situation.
Yeah, so it just so the guy that didn't work out. And then we were kind of like, it kind of screwed us because we had planned on spending a full day picking and buying at this place, and we were done by fucking like lunchtime.
Yeah, like 2 o'clock, I think.
And we were like, well, what are we gonna do now? We have a empty day.
Yeah, because we figured driving from Milwaukee, it was pretty far into Ohio. We'd spend a whole day just driving and then be at the auction the next day. We're like, well, guess we'll just start heading towards the auction because they have a preview on Friday. So at least we can go look.
Yeah, we wanted to go to the preview, but we had figured that we were gonna have one day of driving to get to the area of the flea market, or I mean the auction. Well, now we had like, and obviously we're on the road, so we don't need to go to bed at 9 p.m. or something,
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's like we don't want to sit in a hotel room for 10 hours and just stare at each other. So it's like, why don't we start driving towards that direction? And then as we were driving that night, I'm like, we're gonna kind of go by the early V8 museum. At that point, our friend Frank
Yep.
was volunteering. Our friend Frank is from our area, but he now lives in Michigan, southern Michigan, and he drives down and would volunteer at the early V8 museum. So he knew at that time, the curator, who's no longer there. He knew the curator, Josh, and he was like, hey, he always told us, like, hey, if you're ever stopping by, let me know. I'll call Josh and he'll give you the tour.
Yeah.
So I called Frank. Frank said, let me call him, whatever, or texted. And here we got in touch with Josh. He said, yeah, Josh he'll be at the museum. Just stop by and ask for him. So
Yep.
we went, stopped by.
Well, actually, we got to the area, spent the night, and went there first thing in the morning.
Yeah, so we were lucky that that was a day where the museum, some of these smaller museums, like if you go on a Wednesday or a Thursday, it's quite slow.
Yeah.
So we went on a Thursday morning right when they opened. There was like no one there. So we were first ones to the museum. So we went there. He had nothing going on. He came over, started giving us the whole tour,
Yeah.
of the place, which was really cool. Like if you can go to a museum and a curator or a longtime volunteer can give you a tour, they're going to tell you so much more than somebody that maybe volunteers only on.
Or what's just on the placards,
Yeah.
too.
So he was giving us the whole background, though. The one whole 36 Ford dealership set up, like how it all came about. Also, he was super cool and was like, that was one of our first podcasts.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I'll do a podcast and promote the museum. And
We didn't do it that trip, though. We did it when we came back to pick up what we bought.
oh, right. Oh, yeah. So he agreed to do the podcast. That's right. So we walking around, he was telling us everything. And we're like, oh, this would be a great podcast. Yeah. But then he was like, yeah, we got this other building over here that we built that is the workshop and storage for donated cars. And then we have a event space they rent out, whatever. So we went over there and he's like, actually, we're starting to do consignment of cars for estates as a part of the museum or a separate business or whatever how it works. And he's like, I actually was photographing some cars to put up on our website, next week. So we walk in, he gives us a tour, and he's like, all these cars that are like donated from different people that's sitting there. And it's like good stuff and not all like totally original stuff. There's like
There's 3 or 4 that were hot rods. They had like a finned...
there was a 32.3 window. There was a
33.4, wasn't there too?
33.4 Roadster.
That's right.
There was Model A's. There was like barn find stuff. There was rough stuff. It was like
36 sedan delivery.
There was a 36 sedan delivery that was
Bob Drake's.
Drake or Carpenter's.
Oh, maybe it was Carpenter.
That he used to take around to the swap meets and stuff like that. That was really cool. That they had. That was the original, whatever. So it was just cool seeing all the stuff like behind the scenes. And then I said, oh, well, which ones are you guys selling? Because there was cool stuff there. And he's like, well, we got to figure out which ones are technically for sale or consigning. And some of the ones they still hadn't worked out the details. But he said, this one here actually is for sale. And there's a green 32 Roadster sitting, older restoration in the center where he had photographed it. And he's basically what he told us is that the donor had 2 like identical 32 Roadsters. One was a B model, one was a V8. I think he donated the V8 model to the museum. The museum actually had the option, I think, of getting both, but they didn't think that having 2 of the almost identical vehicles, just different engines, was...
Yeah, they didn't have a Roadster, but they had, I think, is a 2-door sedan or a coupe that was already a B model.
Yeah.
So it's like the museum's not big.
Yeah.
So they're very limited on floor space. So they had to make a decision of what they wanted to keep and help sell the other.
So he basically was like, we decided the B model, the family wants to sell it. We're just basically helping them. They're consigning it with us. We're helping them sell it. The gentleman who last owned it drove it all over the place, toured it. He's giving us the whole spiel, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, telling us all this stuff about the car. This dude doesn't know us really at all. Like, I think our friend Frank had been talking us up over the years. They got to check our YouTube out, blah, blah, blah. To be honest, a lot of times people talk us up, but if you're just a random left field person, like, oh yeah, sure, everybody's got a YouTube channel. Yeah, they're great, whatever. So he didn't even really know much about us or anything or what we're buying or what we have. And so I'm, oh, that's cool. I'm looking it over and, oh, you want to start it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then he gives us the tour of the rest of the museum. And then I'm like, can we go back and look at that roadster? It's kind of cool. And I'm like, again, asked him what he wanted, what they were asking for. And he's like, that's pretty fair price. And I said, yeah, you're right. That is, that's fair for what it is. And he's like, we put it on the website next week. It'll probably be sold in like days or a week. And I'm like, giving me kind of a sales thing.
Yeah.
But he probably didn't know if I was that serious or not. I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, people do that all the time. I'm like, well, you think about it. Like, like they're thinking I'm not serious, trying to shoo me away. Like, you just think about it. And I said, well, you do. No, I think I said, you think you can do any better on the price? And that's when he was like, it's going to sell on the website pretty quickly. And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, you just think about it. And I'm like, And Mike and I had privately, like, I said to Mike, I think I'm going to buy that roadster. And like, I'm like playing it cool. Like earlier, an hour before that in the museum, like, I think I'm going to buy that fucking roadster. He's like, really? I'm like, dude, I brought money to buy like one or both of those roadster projects at the sale.
Yeah.
I'm like, this thing, like, we're running the numbers. I'm like, a roadster project is going to go for X. I could buy 2 of these roadster projects and be into it for the same as this kind of like drivable one. So I'm like, I think I'm going to buy this. So Mike kind of knows it and I'm playing it cool. And the dude's like, yeah, well, you just kind of think about it. Well, you let me know. He's trying to wrap up the tour, get us out the door because we'd been there for like hours. And he's like, you think about it or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I think I'll take it. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, I'll take that roadster. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, I'll go on the truck. I said, we don't have space right now because we're going to this auction, but I said, I'll just pay you now for it cash and I'll be back. Yeah. And this thing wasn't cheap. Like, people think we steal stuff. I paid decent money. Should we even tell people?
Why are you looking at me? I don't give a shit.
We paid a good amount for the car.
But we also, Matt and I had a conversation. We looked at the car about, what we wanted to do with the car. We take all the extra old man stuff, the top, the fenders, the banger motor, pull all that out, the car gets considerably cheaper and it's already painted and it's, it's nice.
So the car I think it was not real far off of retail, honestly, for what the car was worth. Because once we got the car home, the car was not as good as I probably thought. And not good in the metal. Just like if you're being picky about the difference between a $70,000 32 Roadster that's restored and a amateur restoration, we're going to call it. Now, the car is really nice, but it is more leaning towards an amateur restoration as far as like the body panels matching in color. They weren't perfect. There was some stuff that irked me that, like, for me to keep it forever, I probably would have
Resprayed it.
Yeah. So, and I saw that stuff when we were looking at it, and it's kind of like, it's a very odd situation where a 32 Roadster is in the price range that's sub $50,000 for an original 32 Roadster. Yes. So I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, you know what? Like, these cars don't pop up often, and yes, it's probably worth roughly, it was maybe priced $5,000 under what I think we could have sold it for. So it wasn't like crazy cheap. But we were discussing, well, if we sell the fenders, we sell this, we sell that. I'm like, I think I could pay off half the car roughly, or little less, with the parts that we take off and we're not going to use anyways if we build it into like a mild war era hot rod. So we were already like formulating the plan and a little whispering we were doing beforehand. So I said to the dude, I was like, I'll take it. And I was like, I can pay him down, or if you want me to give you half now, and I'll be back in a couple weeks to pick it up. And he's like, kind of was like, whoa, what? He's like, we don't even have the title right now. I'm like, you got a title, right? Well, yeah, but we got to get the family to sign it, and blah blah blah. He's like, we didn't expect somebody would just. I'm like, I guess you didn't realize I'm no bullshit, like So he's like, okay, well, he's like, I don't even need a deposit or something like that, and he's like, just, and I remember it super annoyed me. The dude this Josh guy was kind of a fucking dick. Yeah. I was like, I wanted to pay a deposit to show I'm serious. He wouldn't even give me a deposit. Then I said, well, I don't want you to sell this. I said, no offense. Like, I don't want somebody to come in on Monday that's an AACA or early VA club member, and they are, because I remember I said, look, this is what I'm going to do with this car. And he told me that it was a guy that was in the early VA club forever and blah, blah, blah. And I know how some of these fucking nerds get pissed off. The hot rodder's going to get their car. I said, I'm just making sure. I don't need to buy this car. I said, is the family, are you, the museum, going to get an issue with the club that you're selling me the car? Because I'm telling you up front, this thing is not staying original. Yeah. I'm not going to cut it up and channel it, but like, it's not staying original. He was like, I don't really care what happens with it. They're consigning us to sell it. There's no rules. I'm like, I'm just letting you know this is what's happening. But I said, I also, because of the bullshit that goes on in these restoration world people, the snotty, stuck up people, I said, I want to make sure that some dude doesn't just buy it to spite me because he knows that we're buying. He said, honestly, between you and I, he said, this car has been offered numerous times through the early VA club for sale, and nobody came forward and bought it. He said, so there's been multiple occasions where it was publicly offered for sale within the club. Mm-hmm. No one bought it. He's like, so if those people were pissed, their time to buy it was then. Okay, but I said, I really want a bill of sale. And he kind of like made an ass out of me for wanting a paper sign that they're going to sell it to me, and he wouldn't take a deposit. And he read some bullshit paper and kind of made me look out to be an ass. And I was pretty pissed off about that because I was trying to be super professional, and this guy who runs a museum and all this high dollar stuff doesn't want to do a legal document, or at least something. He said, it doesn't really mean anything. I said, yeah, but I have a piece of paper that if you guys sell it out from underneath of me, I'm going to let the world know that you guys fucked me over, and I agreed to buy a car.
I forgot about that. You were pretty pissed once we got in the truck.
Yeah, and I was like, and the dude was like, I agree to sell you this car, blah, blah, blah. And he's wrote it like that. I'm like, dude, I don't think it's a
huge ass. Definitely not.
I'm like, I'm just trying to be professional. And in fact, I'm asking to give you, let's say, $2,000 down, good faith. I said, that's how anybody does business. Yeah. And he was just being like really condescending about it.
And then after that, he then asks us to transport a car for him.
Yeah,
which is like, funny.
It was just weird. Like some of these, I don't know. The guy had turned out to be, he was a really nice guy, but it was just the way that he was like offended that I was asking for something that says that we agreed to a price and here is the car. And I know that in the end of the day, if you tried to fight it in court, small claims court, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I sure as hell would have let the internet know that the fucking early V8 museum fucked me over.
Yep.
That's what I would have done. I would have burned that goddamn bridge down. And
to be fair, the guy's not there anymore, so he couldn't have been that good of a curator.
Yeah. So
he's no longer employed by the museum.
Yeah, he was fired shortly after that. So I don't know. He was a nice guy, so I don't know what bureaucratic stuff happened there. I don't know. I don't want to get into assuming, but the way that he didn't take the sale seriously kind of bothered me, and I was really pissed off. But then he ended up being a really great guy. So then, yeah, on the backside, then they offered to transport a car, and I think he paid our fuel out there.
Yeah,
which was nice.
It was funny that we went from not buying anything to just impulse buying a 32 Roadster randomly.
That is probably the height of my impulse purchasing, and now anyone that's involved in IronTrap, Mike included, knows that I'm fucking wild card. We never know when we go to an estate what happens, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll take that biplane that's for sale over there. Like, you know, like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's a good deal. It's fine. So,
It's a good deal.
yeah. Since we've gotten the mill, I'm probably less chaotic with that stuff because I'm like,
until the mill's paid off, and then you're going to become insanely chaotic because there's space.
I'm gonna buy a plane because it's a good deal.
We're going to hang it from the ceiling inside the building.
It was a good deal.
We got to take it apart and then reassemble it inside and then hang it.
That's what museums do, though. They do lots of that stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
So we bought that, and I was like, kind of funny because then I was like, we both looked at each other and we got a truck. Like, guess we don't need to buy those 32 Roadster projects at the auction.
Also, where the fuck are we going to put this 32 Roadster at? Like, we'll figure it out later.
Well, that was the catalyst to selling the Roadster pickup.
Yeah.
Because the viewer that bought the Roadster pickup had for months now been occasionally emailing us.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Being like, hey, you ought to sell me that pickup. You ought to sell me that, blah, 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 blah. And I was always just like, no, I enjoy driving it. Well, it seems like you're running out of space. Well, we both looked at each other. I'm like, guess I better email that dude and say, I guess.
That's right. That was a year we drove through Ohio on the Ohio Turnpike like 7 times. It's like we went back and forth across the state so much.
Yeah, so I was like, I guess we should email that dude back and see how serious he is about buying the.
I forgot about that.
Roadster pickup. Because now I bought this Roadster and I'm like, I didn't have space was the big thing. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do here. And this thing's nice, so we need to make space. So, but it also like freed us up. It made we were way less stressed with the whole trip because we were so pissed off about what happened at the
first stop.
I'm actually kind of glad it worked that way because we would have felt more panicked to fill the box truck at that auction, and I might have bought one of those 32 Roadster projects just to feel like we got something. And we bought that other one, and I was like, as soon as we left, I started adding up the numbers. I'm like, dude, we're gonna go there and watch somebody pays like 80% of what we paid for this old restored Roadster for some clapped out like
piece together
32 Roadster, and it's like started making more sense because it's weird in this hobby, like 32 bodies go for like the money you spend on one of them. It's like percentage wise,
it's like 60 to 75% of the whole finished car
of a restored or old restored, let's say, car. And it's like if you're patient, you could afford to spend another 10,000. You can get one that drives. Now I know that's a lot of money, and not everybody we can't. And there's days of the week where I can't afford to do that, depending on what the hell's going on. So it's like. I get that, but when you start, like when I made that purchase, it was like a lot of money, impulsively to spend.
That's the most you've ever spent on a car, ever. A car.
One single car.
By far.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I've always bought cars and then fixed them up.
Yeah.
Because I like the process. So that was kind of like that was one of those ones where I was like, it's inventory. We also wanted to do the test. So the test was, can we buy an old restored car? We had been talking about for a while before that, but we just didn't find the right one. Where can we buy an old restored car, sell the stuff off of it that we don't need to make it cheap, hot rod it, and then sell it for more than we paid for it? And they worked. It worked really well, actually. Yes. And we turned it into a pretty kick-ass car that Brian has, and I'm pretty stoked on that car. Yeah. We made it unique now, and before it was just another...
it's actually quite boring.
It was pretty boring... old fuddy-dud.
Dual spare B. Not cool.
This wasn't very fun. Yeah. So we got that, turned in a pretty cool car. But we were like, going to that auction, we're like, well, I don't really need to buy any cars.
Yeah.
Got my fix.
And we were also pumped up because we hadn't been to a good auction because COVID happened and kind of killed auctions in our area for in-person auctions. So this was like... Man, tomorrow's going to be awesome. It's an in-person auction. We haven't done one in forever. I hadn't been to one as a employee. I say that very loosely. An employee of IronTrap parts business, bidding and buying. So it was this is going to be fun.
Yeah, because we had been to some auctions locally where we just went to see or buy a couple things.
Or you were buying, I was just hanging out.
Yeah, and it's like, but this was one where we were going with a mission because it was big enough that they might have 2 auctioneers.
Yep.
And there was a lot of stuff to go through. So we went to the preview Friday, which was our original plan.
Yep.
and we were looking through all the stuff, and there was like, as expected, all the pallet lots had tons of good stuff hidden within the pallets and pallet lots. And then we get there, and there's some usual suspects, but there wasn't as many as we were expecting. We thought we'd see a lot more, so we were kind of like, well, sometimes the high roller guys might, because being in the Midwest, it's a little dangerous because you can get a guy that will come from Louisiana, Texas, Montana, because it's not, they drove about as far as we did and they can get there. So being the Midwest, it's in the middle.
Not far from Chicago, Detroit.
So there's a lot of high rollers that we don't normally have to compete against because they don't come generally to a sale of this size to the East Coast. Because it wasn't like an insane sale. It was just a big, pretty big one.
There's not very often 232 Roadsters show up at an auction.
Yeah.
They very rarely go to a public auction. They're almost always private sale or put up on eBay or something like that. Yeah.
So we're walking around and it was cool because we saw
Joe and Dave, right?
Yes, the two guys that we see around at a lot of the flea markets and events. They're into the same stuff as us. Joe is super cool guy that's from Pittsburgh, the area, that collects literally the same shit as we do. So like, well, both of them, I should say.
Yeah.
They both collect that stuff. So we see both of those guys, and they're always selling, much like their booths at Hershey are always the booth that's like I go to because they have the great stuff.
Yes.
And it's priced accordingly. But I'll go there because there's sometimes the stuff that's just like so cool you got to buy it. Like Joe had a Pines Winterfront. Randomly, he brought to Hershey 1 or 2 years. It was like just out of nowhere. He's probably had it forever, and he's like, let me put it out there. And he brought it.
It was cool to see those dudes too, because we only ever really see them at swap meets, talk for a handful of minutes, and then you just keep on moving.
Yeah, so that was cool because we were like saw them, and they're like, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're getting a hotel, or we're gonna. I don't know if they got a hotel or they slept in their van.
No, we all stayed at the same hotel.
Oh, that's right. And we were like, you guys want to do dinner? So we like got together.
You guys like Mexican? They're like, we love Mexican. Like, hey, we're going to get Mexican.
And that was like, to me, might have been other than buying a 32 Roadster. Yeah. That was like the highlight of the trip because we like got to hang out with two dudes that we normally only say a few sentences to at a flea market, and you're trying to wander around and buy. Yeah. We got to like sit down and we spent like 2 hours having dinner and hanging out and talking about what cars we have and different adventures and all that stuff. And it was like, that was the fun part of the hobby that I really liked. Yes. So like after the way everything worked out, even though it was sucked in the beginning, like the timing was impeccable. And we got to hang out with these two guys, and we didn't really have any plans after the preview. So it was like we filled our night with hanging out with these guys and talking. And then we went to the auction the next day.
Well, we also got to experience one of the greatest things in the Midwest is Rural King. We had to go it fucking rained the day of the auction too. It
was going to pour down rain all day.
Yes. So we didn't have a hand truck. So that was our big thing. We had to buy a hand truck, which we still have to this day.
Yeah.
And we needed ponchos because we had literally nothing. And we bought the worst fucking rain ponchos ever. But we're like, let's stop at this Rural King. It looks like a cool hardware store. It's Matt's new favorite store.
I bought a Rural King T-shirt. I still have it. It has like an F1 pickup on the pocket, and that began my love affair with pocket tees again.
Yes.
So I was like, let me, but we, because I didn't bring enough clothes or something, and I was like, I need to buy a T-shirt.
T-shirt, yeah.
And, but yeah, we were like, the other cool thing was hanging out with those dudes is we kind of like discussed ahead of time, like we were obviously all into the same stuff, and they were kind of like, these are the few things we really want. And
I need this for a car. I need this for a project.
We're like, okay, cool. Like, we'll back off. And it's like, it's good when you can, like, be friendly like that.
And just be honest for conversation.
Yeah. And otherwise, we were going to be butting heads all day and running each other up. So it was, like, cool that they were like that. And then the rest of the stuff, it was kind of like whoever wanted to bid the most. I wasn't going to list every single item we wanted. But we were both like, that pallet there has something and whatever. And, but yeah, I think we got to the sale, and it wasn't raining in the very beginning. But it was like
5 lots in, it just started to drizzle, and then downpour.
And I remember they were doing like the speed equipment outside the garage and whatever, and it was like raining, and we're just like, oh my god. And the auction started off pretty strong, like the speed equipment.
We
and
didn't buy a
stuff.
single piece of speed
It
equipment.
was all going for what I think is retail or above, and we didn't really buy much of anything for first hour or more. And then when they started getting out into
The pallet lots of like mechanical stuff, we were buying we have a different mindset than most people. They go after the 39 transmissions brought good money, but all the other stuff went for literally scrap price basically. So we were buying the pallet lots after everyone, they were doing choice. So that someone would buy the 39 trans and then someone would buy the next 39 trans. And then it was just like, okay, pallet, the whole lot. We'd pay $10, $20 for the entire pallet of transmissions. It's like, there's good parts on all of them.
Yeah, and the way we think about it is like, yeah, everybody wants a 39 trans, but we sell plenty of, like, sure, if 39 trans might be $500-600 for a good core complete.
Yeah.
We're like, but we could sell a 37 trans and get $250.
Yeah.
And when we're buying the whole pallet lot for $10, like, there's plenty of people in the hobby that don't want to spend $500-600 on a 39 trans, and they're fine putting a 37 trans in their car, a 36 trans. So we were just like, and then all the transmission mounts that are on them, we're like, we sell those for 50 a piece, like, or whatever. It's like, it's a no-brainer. So
Van Pelt was there.
That's who we were bidding against for all of that stuff. It was Van Pelt was buying it, and all we were doing, we were just joking on the way home. We're like, all we did is just kept them honest.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't run them up. They weren't like, we weren't making them pay retail or over. We just made sure if anybody's gonna, we always joke, if anybody's gonna steal the stuff at an auction, it's gonna be us.
Yeah.
So we made sure that the stuff was, we didn't run them up and be dicks, but there was times when he was just like,
God damn it. It was Van Pelt and Mohawk. What the hell's the name of the place?
yeah, there's a, I'd never met him before. But we realized after we were there, he sells on eBay and he's like,
Mohawk Automotive or something like that.
But he's like a guy our age, all tattooed up.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see another guy that's like, looked like us. And
Yeah.
he was like doing the same stuff. So a lot of these sales, there's like tons of people, tons of stuff. There ends up being 3 to 5 guys that buy 90% at auction. Sometimes it's 1 to 3 guys.
Yeah.
And there was, Joe and Dave. It was the Mohawk guy. There was the
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt only mainly bought the trans stuff, and they kind of ditched out.
Yep.
But there was like a couple other guys. I don't remember everybody was there, but like there was, maybe 5 guys that were buying the majority of it, and we were obviously one of the, ones buying a lot of it. So we were just same thing. We were standing around, and everybody would fight over the one really nice 32 fender on the pallet, and then we were like, well, there's still all these other good
The
parts.
funniest thing was the flywheels. They got to the flywheel pallet and they're like,
no one wanted the flywheels.
yeah, I think I paid $2 or $5 a piece because they got down to like, there was one aluminum flywheel on top. Someone bought that and they're like, choice, and it got up to like $2. And I was like, I'll take all the flathead flywheels. They're like, how many are there? I said, I don't know, I'll dig through. And I just dug through and peeled off all the flathead flywheels. It was like 25 or 30 flathead flywheels. It was a lot.
And everybody's just looking at us like we're crazy. We're like, we have a machine shop that surfaces them, and then we put them on eBay and our website and local. We sell flathead flywheels that are You can't sell a flathead flywheel to save your life if it's not surfaced. They're everywhere. They're worthless almost. But we've found a good machine shop near us that has a surface grinder that does them for us at a price. Now the price has been going up, but like at affordable enough price, we can sell them for reasonable, much cheaper than you can buy a new one, and we sell them pretty regularly. So that's why our thinking, it's like for $2 a piece, and then we pay XYZ to get them resurfaced. We're making.
And as I'm going through, they did the cars. Did they do the cars right away, or did we go right to the mechanical stuff? Did a bunch of mechanical stuff, and while I knew the mechanical stuff, Matt was digging through pallets further down. There was probably like 75 or 100 pallet lots. There was a lot. So you're going through and Matt's doing digging and finding stuff because you found a 32 Roadster door, I think.
It was one of the, it was part of my Roadster from Pieces pile. But yeah, it was like they were just throwing parts on pallet lots. Again, when you hire an auctioneer that knows nothing or cares nothing, not at all about car parts or the type of cars you're selling, They were just throwing any kind of car parts or whatever
Yep.
on pallet lots and stacking them. And if you're into, because this guy had 32s and other cars, there was like 32 stuff mixed in. And what we quickly figured out is the 32 Roadsters rolling projects that were for sale or getting auctioned later in the day, he had started with really rough bodies and then he put a bunch of Brookville stuff on them. But
one was like 90% Brookville, and the other one was like 50% Brookville.
So what we quickly realized, all the stuff that he took off those cars was in these pallet lots.
Yeah.
Because the two guys we knew from Pittsburgh area, they were like, oh, I'm after that trunk lid or that whatever I needed for a car I'm piecing together. And then like I started looking through stuff. I'm like, there's a 32 Roadster door at the bottom of all this stuff. There's a Cal side here.
Oh, that's right. We did get a Cal. I remember you pulled the door out and they were like, fuck.
Yeah. I was like, haha, you guys didn't see that, did you? But then the one pallet lot we got a Cal side and I didn't know it was in there.
Yeah.
I missed it. And I think the dude Dave bought the other Cal side. He's like, dude, I have the Cal top at home. I really need that Cal. And
I forgot we sold it to him.
And I sold it to him. Like, I was like, dude, I didn't even know it was in here. Like, whatever. But I got that door because I wanted the door to piece together for, something. And, but it was like kind of fun because we were piecing together. There was little treasures. And every person at the sale knew about some certain treasures. So you'd get to a pallet lot. All of a sudden, the pallet lot for choice would go nuts.
Like, what the heck is going on?
What are they bidding on? And they dig down, and then there was like, a 32 bullnose that was in a cardboard box on the bottom of the stuff. You're like, oh, that's why it went for $250 for choice.
Damn it. Well, we bought a lot of mechanical. We bought a lot of wheels, a lot of steering boxes. Again, guys were buying the nice 32 steering boxes, and then we get the choice, and it's like, we'll take all 35.6, and later, we still sell them for a decent amount of money. It's like, you guys pick out the two really nice ones and we'll buy the rest.
And we're on a different, even though there's a bunch of reseller guys that are in the same business us that were there, we have set up our business in a different way than if you're just doing it out of your garage or your house. If you're buying and selling, it's really hard to buy 25, 35.6 steering boxes because you A, have to have the space, B, you have to be invested enough that you're going to sit on all that inventory and sell them one every 3 months. We're set up in a manner which we buy that stuff, and if we buy it at the right price, even though we have 5 of them at home, we're fine to have 30 of them because we don't know when we're going to find them again. So we buy a little differently than other people do, and that's scaling the business, and we're scaled to a place where we don't care if we have 30 of them. We'll sell them eventually. We just want them in stock so that we don't want to have somebody call us and say, do you have a 35.6 steering box? And we say no. So that's why we buy it like that. So we were buying. There was that 39 Mercury. Was it a convertible?
No, it was a coupe that they turned into a convertible.
But it was a convertible. Yeah. It was like a customized 39 Mercury.
Was it a Ford? I don't remember. It was a slammed.
It was slammed. It had a Dago drop axle on it, which was cool. It had some kind of like Camaro rear end in it or something with a...
It was a really bad... It was probably a cool custom at some point, and then someone like fucked it up.
Yeah, they did some dumb stuff to it. But that's what was drawing me in, because I think they took a coupe and cut the roof off and made a convertible, but they like let it in around it, and it was like kind of cool, but then they
couldn't get it running the day of they tried to fire it up for everyone, and they couldn't get it running, and it went for very cheap.
I was super close to buying it. I was like really fascinated by it because I thought it was like an old custom that with the right amount of work you could turn it back into a nostalgic custom. Yeah. And I'm like, I really want this. It's gonna go cheap. And they kept saying it would run, and I'm like, it's probably not gonna go. I only want to spend like $1,000, $2,000. And then they started auction, and I was kind of standing on the edge, and they couldn't get it to run. And I had to walk away because I was like, it's going to go so cheap, and I'm going to buy it. So I walked to the other end of the place and just talked to somebody. And they ended up going for, I think, like $2,000 or less.
Well, it's good he walked away because then I bought, like 3 lots over was a restored 35.6 chassis with an engine, but it had parts piled up and body panels piled up on top of it. It was all in one shot. It was 35.6 like seat. There was 35.6 fenders. There was all kinds of stuff piled up. I think there was roadster doors or coupe doors. I think they might have been roadster.
There was Roadster, 36 Roadster parts stacked on top. And
so I was like, huh, let me watch this. So Matt's over talking to someone, and I bid the chassis. I think we paid $2,500 for the whole thing. And I walk over to Matt, and I'm like, I'm glad you didn't buy that piece of shit Merc, because I just bought that chassis. And you're like, what? It's like, it's $2,500. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, at first I was still kind of pissed. I'm like, dude, $2,500, the chassis, like, that's basically what we're going to sell the chassis and the rolling chassis for. He's like, no, there's Roadster doors, there's seat. I'm like, there's like $2,500 worth of just stuff that was on top. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah. At first I was like, he's gonna be so pissed, and then I explained, you're like, oh, okay, that's fine, and you went back to your conversation and kept on buying. I
think I was like, how the hell are we getting it in a truck?
Luckily they had a tractor, which was still kind of sketchy.
Very sketchy, because we picked up
the front axle, put it in, then they came up behind, picked it up, and then I backed the box truck under it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like a bunch of people at the sale kind of like helped us get it in the truck, but everyone was like, you guys are idiots.
Yep.
This is ridiculous. And
that was just a lot of big, heavy flywheels and steering boxes and wheels.
Loading was not fun at that sale. And
luckily, it stopped raining at that point.
Yeah, we loaded until basically dark, I think, because we had so much crap we bought.
Do you remember Dave and Joe locked their keys in their truck?
Oh, yeah.
They were the last people there. They just had like a big pile in the yard, and they were just waiting for a locksmith to show up to get his keys out of his truck.
I got to ask him about that when I see him at
They were in the truck. I asked.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that year then. I was like, where were your keys? It's like, they were in the truck. I locked them in it. They had to wait for a locksmith to show up, unlock it, load the truck, and then drive to Pittsburgh home. It's a late night for them.
Yeah, but we ended up getting a lot of good stuff, and then the good thing was that chassis ended up being that I think the engine was like almost rebuilt or something. Yeah. I got it running super easy. We mocked it up and we did a video. If you haven't seen it, there's a clip. Maybe you can drop it in.
Yeah, I'll drop it in.
I drove. This was before we built the other pole barn, and I drove it in the yard and got sideways and was driving it around.
Sitting on a piece of, I think you're just sitting on like plywood on the frame with a hand throttle.
Oh, yeah.
Just like a piece of mechanics wire hooked up to the carburetor.
Yeah, our buddy Justin at that point was, he hadn't bought his shop that he bought, and he was working out of his home garage. And every now and then, if he was slow, he had just gone on his own doing a mechanic business. And every now and then, if he had a kind of slow week, he would be like, hey, if you need any help, I got a free day. So that was one of those things. And so he like set the stuff up, and then I went and found something for a hand throttle, and it was like,
oh, it might have been a choke rod. I don't remember. Yeah, it was sketchy. It was so funny,
but it was pretty. That was a key memory of sketchiness that
That's a great thumbnail too. You kicking dirt up with it sideways.
Yeah,
good thumbnail.
Fun. But so that was a lot of fun.
It was a fun adventure. Obviously, everyone thinks every trip goes flawless and perfect, and it was just happened to be one of the ones that started out really shitty, but at least at the end it was a lot.
Yeah, we rolled with the punches the whole time. I mean, whether it was it raining or
that was very miserable at that. It poured like crazy. It was
like 8 hours of just pouring rain, fine the whole time, and it's just like eventually we're just like,
it got sunny, and then it would fucking pour again, and then it would get sunny, and then
super humid, and miserable. But like the whole time it was like, we got there, and then there was guys that we know that want to buy the same stuff, and it's a little awkward. It's like we just worked through all the steps, and some of the stuff we wanted to buy went for more money than we could justify. So we had to find different stuff to buy.
Yeah.
You remember the some of the buys of the day towards the end of the day, there was a guy that I see around at some of the stuff that's a early Ford guy that's a little older than he's maybe in his 60s or 70s, probably 70s. He bought a 32. There was like almost looked like it was an old restored engine. It was a 32 V8 engine. And it was like, I was trying to be nice to some of these guys, so I didn't run him up. But he bought it for like $800 or something, $1,000. And it was like, all the 32 stuff was on. It was a correct 32 block, the aluminum pan, the water pumps, the carb, the generator.
About that,
And then there was the flathead engines that were on those really cool rotating engine stands.
Oh yeah, I forget what they're called.
And they were like Carol Wilson or another brand, but they were like, there was like all kinds of engines on the stands.
There was a shit ton of engines there. There was probably 20 or 25 engines. That got insanely cheap after the good 32 engine, they got progressively cheaper.
Well, there was one flathead that was all hopped up, but it was locked up and it had speed equipment.
Yeah.
And it went for, I thought, a little strong of money.
Yeah.
But then everything after that got like really cheap. The couple of engine stand ones went for a little bit of money because they were like, accessory or, vintage engine stands. But like everything else, the engines were like $50, $20. And we were just like, I don't feel like lifting these engines.
Luckily, I bought the chassis before the engines went. So it was like, the truck's kind of full. That chassis is going to like just fit. We had to take the bumpers off to get it in. It was like, I don't think we can fit engines in there too, which was kind of a good thing.
Yeah, so you have bio, but one of those engine stands would have been cool, but yeah, it was whatever. So that was a fun Ohio trip. We sold a bunch, all the stuff, the full cycle deal. We got the 32 home in a separate deal. Spent some time, gave that car a new life as a hot rod, and second hot rod life.
Yeah.
And drove it a little bit. Sold it to our customer and friend Brian, and now Brian's been ripping it around Brooklyn all summer and enjoying it. So it's like all that stuff's really cool. How all that worked out, and now the dust settles, everything's great. I don't think anything from that trip I kept. So
the hubcaps, but they ended up on the 39, the Mad Scientist coupe.
Oh yeah,
the trim rings.
Yeah, and the gentleman that owns that has those rare.
Rare trim I don't think he kept anything else. We still have a little bit left to sell from there. That's just like randomness from that auction, because Matt was buying flats of just like random shit I have to go through yet. Always back inventory.
Yes. So yeah, that was our trip. It was a good, fun one. So if you guys are listening to this on Spotify or Apple or any of those, and you want to watch some of the visuals, because we did a video on the trip, Mike usually drops some clips in amongst the video, so check it out on YouTube.
Yep.
And you can see it on YouTube, and we put out podcasts weekly, so definitely subscribe on your Spotify or your podcast platform, and you can catch us on there and give us a listen. So
we'll see you guys at Carlisle and Hershey.
Yep.
Stop, say hi. If you have any podcast ideas, as always, we're open to any and all suggestions.
Yes. So thank you guys. We'll catch you later. See ya.
Time to wake up, Moon. You didn't perk up that time.